Hey guys, so today bringing you another video. Now welcome to, well, the Champion and Preseason 2023 video. You might be thinking it's a bit early for that, but just reminding everybody we're already in like the mid of August, so it's actually not. It's just this year's gone quick. But yeah, I'm going to do a reaction video to this. So I'm sure we know some of the things that are happening. Obviously, a few days ago, they did that jungle kind of release that I think, unfortunately, Garena mistimed. So they'll probably talk about that in this. But yeah, this is a live reaction video. Obviously, I like talking about dev stuff, and we've done this before of I'll listen, and if I've got anything to say, I'll pause and then kind of talk about what we've just heard. But as always, if you guys want to give your opinions, please do use the comment section down below. Give your opinions on what they talk about. Agree with people, disagree with people, but obviously, as always, keep it in a civil manner, as that's kind of the best way about going forward and actually being good. A good community. So let's get into it and see what we think of what they're planning.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Reeve Morales, lead producer of Gameplay on League. You might remember me from all those champion roadmaps, but today, for reasons I can't even fathom, they put me in front of a camera again to talk about all of League this time. So buckle up as I dive into some of the champions we have in development.
So we'll just say, for those that are unaware, just a very small tangent, a lot of people in Riot, obviously I know quite a lot of Rioters, they've had a lot of changing in roles in the last year to two, 1 to 2 years, I should probably have said, like a lot. A lot of the higher management, higher tier of devs have moved on to different projects. Admittingly, a lot of them have gone onto the MMO project, and people that were like, you know, management level of League of Legends have now been moved to senior management and like big decision makers. So a lot of the teams in Riot have got new people in them, but also have got older people, but like who have been promoted. So
Development. After that, I'm going to pass the metaphorical mic over to Riot Froxon, who is going to talk to you about the recent durability update, as well as our plans for preseason.
Okay.
So before we get into the new champions coming up this year, let's take a quick look back at the champions we've released in 2022 so far. First we had the speedy ADC Zeri, then the girl boss Renata Glass. After that, the Void Empress herself, Belva. And then most recently, the joyful Neela. And just around the corner, we have the Udyr VGU, complete with a dad bod worthy of the Freljordian gods. Udyr's development has been a long journey, especially since he's been the first VGU that we've done that's had an ultimate skin. We appreciate you all being patient with us on this one, and hopefully the wait has been worth it.
So let me just, before anything, again, give my thoughts. What do I feel about the champions that have come out this year? As most people, I think, in League kind of tend to agree, is new champions tend to be on the more crazy side and harder to balance side than good. And I do think that's one of two big reasons. Is one, the more champions you put into the game, there's the less unique a champion could be mechanically. So, you know, the more basic ideas have all been done. So the only thing that's left is the more crazy, outlandish ideas, and they are more often than not harder to balance. I do also think, and I know this is like a tinfoil hat conspiracy, I do think Riot on average do make champions, new champions, a lot stronger, and they are purposefully doing that. Why? Well, again, there could be a money aspect to it. You know, new champions make them strong. People then feel the need that they have to buy the champion. That could be an avenue, but I do think there is something that needs to be a little bit looked at within Riot, because the culture of new champions tends to go with the complete ethos of we only care about the player playing the champion and we don't care about the player playing against the champion. That does seem to be still true for all the champions practically that they've mentioned of new. As for like what's been a success, what's been not, Zeri I cannot call a success. I don't think many people can. They still cannot balance that champion. She has been in pretty much every single patch since her release, and they can't decide what she is. She's supposed to be the speedy, high DPS, but low actual damage output AD carry, but that's not what she is anymore. She still isn't. They're making her W too strong, like they've done for a while, and she's having a really hard time finding her place. Renata, very cool champion, and I would say overall she has been a success, but is definitely on the strong side, and she has that new champion feel that it isn't that fun to play against Renata. Belveth, the modern day Master Yi, again, not insanely good the higher rating you go, because coordinated team play can do well against her, but she does still have the opportunity just to be like, hey, I'm a new champion, I'm just going to kill you all. I have crazy damage reduction and all that stuff. So still has her issues. And then Neela, I can't personally call Neela a success either. A lot of people literally were like, it's, you know, Samira 2.0. There are a lot of comparisons you can make with those two champions. It was even the same designer. The guy that did Samira also did Neela. And I can't really call her a success, mainly for the reason that I don't see that champion. She's never banned, but she's never picked. I did predict she was going to be more of a niche pick, and she definitely is. But I don't think Riot are out there to make new champions instantly niche picks. Like Rel, for example, was one of those a year or two ago. They don't want that. That's not making them a lot of money. So, and then as for Udyr, the upcoming rework, he seems very Udyr. You know, I've made the content on him. He is just Udyr. I wouldn't even call him 2.0. I'd call it Udyr 1.5. That's what Udyr is. And for a lot of people, they would deem that as a success. An old school player like me, that I like change to a certain extent. I'm really fine with them really changing a champion to make it kind of new. We've had the same Udyr now for 12 years, so something completely different I would have embraced and accepted, but I know people aren't like me. I know obviously I have that opinion because I jump around on champions, I change my main if I get bored, but if you're an Udyr player, I do understand that you don't want the champion to change that much. It's always the argument of like, if you one-tricked your way to Diamond as an Udyr player and then suddenly the champion completely changes, you're going to struggle a lot as a player. So Riot, in their current updates, etc., they do tend to keep them a little bit more samey. There are some champions that they are going to do bigger things with, and maybe we'll obviously hear about that.
So in addition to the new champions we've released this year, we've also been shipping a lot of MIDSCOPE updates to various champions, including Janna, Ahri, Swain, Talia, Olaf, and recently Sivir.
These are good.
As we slowed down the release of new champions, we've had a bit more time to ship smaller updates to champions on the roster that have fallen behind the pack. So the goal of MIDSCOPE updates isn't to reimagine a champion's visuals, theme, or gameplay. That's reserved for VGUs. Instead, we want to freshen up the champions that aren't living up to the expectations of the players who love them. We try to strengthen their fantasy even more, rather than reinvent it. So for Swain, we pushed his fantasy of an unkillable frontline mage to the max. And for Ahri, we focused on her fantasy of a mobile mage, rather than the assassin she had become. We saw really great responses to these projects, as well as healthy play rate spikes after their release. Given all of this, we want to keep pursuing MIDSCOPE updates, and we already have a few champions we're exploring, including Neeko and Syndra.
Okay, Neeko, I'm not 100% sure about. Like, maybe they want to get, like, they remember what they're saying. They want a champion to feel more what it's supposed to feel. So, like, for Olaf, he was supposed to be more of a raging berserker. So, hey, make his ultimate never run out as long as he's hitting people. Swain is an insane, drained, demonic bird. He should never run out if people stay on top of him. That's the fantasy that they want to bring these champions up to. The only thing that I could think with Neeko is she's supposed to be the chameleon. She's supposed to be camouflaging and actually using that. People don't use the camouflage feature. It is the feature that people forget about because it's mainly irrelevant. They might look into that. Maybe they'll bring that up into power or something, make it more powerful. I don't know. Syndra, definitely, 100%. She's supposed to be this also like very powerful mage that can basically kill people in one combo. Her problem, I will just say, is complete lack of mobility. She can just get absolutely wrecked by jungle ganks, and hell, even most mid laners anyway can kill her quite easily. So I definitely think that one is good. The only thing I would say about the MIDSCOPE updates, although I'm a massive fan and I definitely feel a lot of the roster could benefit from them because there's a lot of old champions in League, on average, maybe not surprising, they do seem to be quite strong when at least they come out. You know, that does seem to be Riot's kind of thing. When a champion is new, it tends to be a bit too strong. When a champion gets updated, it tends to be a bit too strong. I don't know if they should like look into their like pre-testing a little bit more, because it does seem to be quite a thing that champions be, whether it's a new champion or update, they do seem to be always a bit too strong. And it does take a while for it to like kind of level out a bit. And there are some people that obviously gain a lot of LP in that very short amount of time going, hey, this champion's really good. So yeah. Anyway, a new champion. So all I'll say is I know we're supposed to have a tank top laner, a skill expression tank top laner by the end of the year, and a support, I believe. We'll see if they say anything about either.
So now let's talk about some projects I've been super excited to share with you. So later this year, we have a new top lane tank hailing from Shurima, who I briefly mentioned in the last champion roadmap. This new champion will introduce a part of Shurima that we haven't explored yet. The city of Nezuma.
Cool. We've seen that image, I think.
Nezuma is an oasis city-state in the southern outskirts of the desert, and unlike the rest of Shurima, they don't bow to Azir. Situated on one of the only water sources for miles, the people of Nezuma had to compete with giant monsters just trying to stay hydrated. It was a hard-fought struggle, but they eventually claimed the oasis as their own and built their society around it. Now, 500 years later, this new champion leads the warriors of Nezuma to hunt those same monsters, using the rare resources they gained to build their infrastructure and weapons. He actually fought one of the largest monsters the desert has ever known, creating his unique Entofos out of its rare regenerating hide. Entofos are huge, blunt weapons that can be used defensively, but at any moment, he can shatter them, revealing carefully crafted blades capable of tearing through any foe in seconds.
That doesn't sound like a
Soon
tank.
after, the hide will regenerate back to its blunt form, so he can like bludgeon the crap out of you. It's honestly quite impressive to see.
All right, my guess with that champion, bludgeon form, so like kind of tank form, if you will, he'll do percentage damage in some degree, and when he goes blade mode, it'll be more burst damage. But again, that doesn't sound like a pure tank, but the champion sounds cool. A new part of Shurima who doesn't bow down to Azir, so clearly there's going to be some voice lines going on with Azir. Probably even voice lines with Renasus, Renekton, Rammus, where Rammus will probably just say okay. Severe potentially even as well. That would be cool. A new tank top laner also, just to say, it does introduce the idea of tank meta. Again, Riot never wants to release a champion that's never going to be meta. Tank meta is borderline at the moment. Ornn is very good, but it's not like it's full tank meta in top lane. The vast majority of top lane is still more the 1v1 duelist. It's still the Aatrox, the Camille, the Fioras. It's just Ornn is very good, so he can kind of stay up there. Hopefully this new champion will be cool. And again, let's be honest, they're never going to release a champion mid-December onwards. So we're 4 months. I'm recording this on the 12th. I don't know when I'm releasing this, either tonight's second video or tomorrow's. We'll see, you know, how quickly this will be. We've just had Udyr's VG is just coming out now. We had Belveth a few weeks ago, or no, Neela a few weeks ago. I would say we might learn about this champion in maybe a month, and maybe 2 weeks after that, PBE. So maybe a month and a half, 2 months, maybe.
But you don't have to take my word for it. The entire city-state is basically permanently impressed by him. I mean, he's Kasanti, the pride of Nezuma.
Ah, that's his name.
You don't get that title for nothing.
So he's like Hercules,
so after
I think.
Kasanti, we will be releasing the highly anticipated Aurelion Sol CGU.
Ah, he's next.
To remind everybody, a CGU, or Comprehensive Gameplay Update, is a new type of update we are testing out on Aurelion Sol. So the goal is to completely reimagine Asol's gameplay without changing his visuals or narrative at all.
Yeah.
Since let's be honest, those aspects of Aurelion Sol are still amazing,
That's
even
sick.
by today's standards.
Yeah.
But I know what you're thinking. Less talking, Mr. Reeve, more action. And by action, we mean videos. Okay, fine. Twist my arm a little bit more, will you? Now keep in mind, the visuals are still a work in progress. One of the goals was to enhance his dragon theme. And what do dragons do?
Fire.
Well, they breathe fire, of course. Asol's new Q allows him to breathe fire for as long as he has mana to do it. But let's not forget the other thing dragons do.
Fly.
Fly. His new W allows him to take to the skies. But this time, he doesn't have to walk in a straight line for like ever. He can now fly with the push of a button. But really, let's be honest. He's a dragon. And if there's one thing more iconic than either flying or breathing fire,
Doing both at the same
it's
time.
flying while breathing fire.
Yeah.
Which you can do by combining his Q and W. We did it. So after Aurelion Sol, we have a champion I've been literally dying to talk.
Sorry, I have to talk about Relic. That looks sick. That looks like maybe I'd like to play that in mid. Obviously, he's going to still be roam-centric. They're not going to change that. But that's the type of update that I spoke about earlier with the Udyr one, that Riot is scared sometimes to kind of go, hey, new champion, basically, within a new champion. Because, again, what happens right now? I have to give that example. You are a one-trick Aurelion Sol player. You're going to fundamentally have a new champion. You know, your mechanics are different. The ethos of the champion probably will stay the same. He probably does still want to roam, but everything else is different. Are you, like, how quickly will you pick up? It's basically picking up a new champion. So those type of one tricks, etc. Yep, all I would say, if you're in Aurelion Sol one trick right now, and you're going to have basically a new champion to learn, as soon as he's available on PB, start spamming it. Like, you need to learn, if that's the champion you're going to stay with, learn it. But what I would also recommend is, even right now, start picking up a couple more champions. The reason why I say that is the more champions you play, the easier and quicker you also can pick up more champions. You're not boxed in as much. The way that I've always played a lot of champions, and people have always asked me, how do you play so much? Basically, when I'm playing a champion and I jump on something new, I equate their mechanics to past champions that I know that I've played. And you can kind of pretend almost that part of a champion's kit is actually a different champion. And because I've played that other champion, oh, that's actually easy to do. You equate it to each other. And when you've played all 160 champions in League, it's not that hard to pick up a new champion, because you just in your head going, oh, it's like that new champion's like Pantheon's Q and Lee Sin's W, and it's got Syndra's E. You kind of just combine and you kind of mentally work it out that way, because that's what most new champions are like. So that's what I would say. Be careful if you are a one trick. You're going to have a new champion, but it does look very cool. I like it.
To you about. One of the things the League community hounds me about constantly is wanting to see more Darkin champions.
Yes.
Darkin fans are like, throw me a frickin' bone here. And believe you me, I'm right there with you, barking for some Darkin. Then one night, at around 2:34
There's a
a.m.,
dog.
I woke up in a fever sweat. And at that moment, it hit me. I'm on the champions team. If I want more Darkin, I can just talk to the team about it. And gosh dang it, I did just that. And the team was like, heck yeah, we want more Darkin as well. We love
Darkin support.
Darkin. So yeah, long story short, we're making a new Darkin assassin.
Oh.
So I know what you're gonna ask next. What's the weapon? Each Darkin is trapped in some super awesome weaponry. Please tell us what it is, we must know. And while I love watching you all squirm beneath my intricate yet vague champion roadmap teasers, I'm not gonna be that cruel today. The weapons are like the coolest part about Darkin after all.
True.
So this one was actually entrapped in a dagger, which is now a Darkin dagger.
Why?
Of course, because that's how that works. And here's what it looks like. Ooh, so edgy, so dark. And as to who or what got a hold of these daggers, well, you'll just have to wait and find out.
I thought it was support.
Another thing a lot of people have been asking to see progress on is the Ari update that we announced at season start. Well, the ASU team has been hard at work and is ready to share some art.
Ooh.
Like the final composition seen here.
It's high
The base version
EPI.
is close to complete, and the team is super excited to show you some
way
of the
better.
progress on how she's looking in-game.
That looks like Wild Rift.
Look at
And that's a
all
good
those
thing, because
sweet
Wild Rift looks way
polygons.
better.
And here's a sneak peek of her updated VFX.
Bit low res, but
Ari still has a ton of skins that also need to be updated.
yeah, like 15.
So
Good
she
luck.
still needs a little more time in the Foxfire oven
Nice.
before we can get her.
That's
in
just an art update, by the way. No
but you can
gameplay.
expect to see her sometime early next year.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So that's about it for champion news. Though I will leave you with one small thing.
The support?
On top of wanting a new Darkin, we've seen a lot of players asking us to expand on Ixtal.
Ooh.
We've also heard you asking for us to make a male enchanter. Well, I say,
Why not both?
I'm happy to say we have right now, in very early development, a new male enchanter from Ixtal. The new champion will show a
I
very
thought he's
different
coming
side
out this
of Ixtal,
year.
far from the lavish palaces Kiana grew up in. So take a look at this art teaser that the team working on them put together. Oh my god, they're so adorable. Well, that's enough cuteness for now. So as promised, let's hear from Riot Froxon on the champion durability update and preseason.
All right. Before we get into him, I genuinely am very confused because I swear there's supposed to be a support coming out this year, unless maybe that was Renata, I guess, maybe, but I don't think so because I remember being told a male chanter support. I'm confused. But yeah, so we have the top lanes again. Skill expression tank top laner. Not sure that Darkins are this year. I'm not sure. They might be. I don't know. I would doubt it will be this year, but maybe. And then yeah. So anyway, I am a bit confused though. Maybe I misheard something. But anyway, let's get on to the durability update. In my opinion, there's still too much damage in the game. Let's see what they think. This is fun though. Hopefully you're enjoying.
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Long Harrison, aka Riot Froxon, lead game designer on the Summoner's Rift team. We work on things like balancing the game, in-game systems like the durability update and items, and preseason. I've got a few things to cover today, so let's jump right into it. A few patches ago, we launched the champion durability update. Our goal was to increase the durability and reduce the damage and healing of every champion in
Just want to straight up, if that was an actual clip, that Fiora would have killed that Mundo by now. I'm just
the
like,
league. We've been closely monitoring the results, and after some targeted adjustments, we're really happy with where the update landed. A lot of you have mentioned how much you like the update, and that it feels good to have fights last longer with more chances for
it was a good update because there's more skill in the game,
that it helped
but
make the league feel fresher.
could be
That
more.
said, we don't have plans to make changes of this size outside of preseason in the future, unless it's really necessary. What we don't want is for huge changes like this to disrupt League's competitive integrity, especially in the middle of the season. Speaking of which, let's talk about our
But that's just how, I will just say, that's how important it was for them to do it. For those that don't know, because obviously as a content creator, I have a unique perspective of I have so many voices coming at me every single day. And I know people will say, oh, the people that watch you probably have very much the aligned perspective of what I have. Partially true, but also partially not. A lot of my community is very different to me, but they watch me for my perspective, but they have different perspective. And all I will say as a content creator very much in the world of League of Legends, before the durability update and maybe the year before that, the amount of people that I were having, I've quit the game because I was getting one shot too much, was so common in the comment section, on Twitter, in my stream chat. I think that's why Riot had to do something in the middle of a season. They couldn't wait until the end of the season. Same thing happened with Chem Dragon. Does anybody remember that? Like, they did a whole dragon that was just simply busted. Why did they remove that when old Riot, or they wouldn't want to, trust me, they would have been like, oh, okay, we'll just leave it for this season, then we'll take it out of preseason. They had to remove it. People were hating it. Even basically when you get to the point also when pros are being interviewed, and pros are supposed to be a little bit more politically correct, they're employed by an organization and they wouldn't want them to say anything out of line. When pros are being interviewed at the end of their games and they're saying how bad certain things are, it's not good. And pros are even saying Chem Dragon's bad. To be fair, pros still to this day are saying how bad Yuumi is, but that champion probably will never get removed. But still, anyway. So they might talk about the jungle thing, and obviously we know about
Similar
that.
to last year, we're making more targeted changes to various systems. Our multi-year goal is to bring everything in League up to modern standards before doing updates on the scale of Runes Reforged, Elemental Rift, or the item update again. So for this preseason, we're updating systems including communication and vision, making the jungle more exciting and accessible, and bringing back a familiar foe.
Chem Dragon's coming back. What's this though? This will be good.
Our communication system is showing its age, especially in comparison to some of our other games. So we're giving it some much needed attention with new features that'll make it easier to communicate with your team and walk away with the win. To that, we're expanding our in-game ping system to allow for better communication with your team.
Nice.
The current system only lets you share very basic communications.
Yeah.
And while we appreciate your ingenuity with the limited pings you have, we wanted to give you more opportunity for clearer communication. The updated pings will include everything you already know and love, plus expanded vision options and a call to engage.
I don't know about anyone else, but why don't they make them customizable? Like, in my opinion, at least, like, some players will value some pings over others. So it'd be kind of cool if you could just customize your wheel of what you want your ping system to be. And you could even put it to what role you're playing. Because if you're playing support, you'd probably want different pings than if you're playing jungle. Like, it would be kind of cool if they go that level of detail, but I don't know if they're going to. And by this, though, you can see at the middle, there's the back with right click. They might have subsystems and menus and stuff like that. But again, it might seem a bit daunting. But if you play other games like who have these systems, they're not. You will learn them very, very fast.
We're also thinking about ways to emphasize pings with teammates, plan macro strategy for objectives, and keep track of where pings are on the map, even if they're off your screen. In addition to the changes to communication, we're making some small improvements to the vision system, as it's a bit outdated. It's not super clear that you can swap vision trinkets, and it's definitely not clear how you can best utilize them.
Snail!
To that, we're exploring ways to make vision trinkets more intuitive. You'll be able to see how many wards you have on the map, and preview where they'll go when placing them in walls.
Is that necessary? Okay.
Another focus this year is the jungle.
Oh.
We know it's often a highly stressful role, where you need heaps of knowledge to be baseline proficient.
Knowledge.
There's a lot riding on junglers, as they're often the backbone of the team's strategy, while sometimes getting...
They're all the team strategy.
So we're looking to make some changes to make jungling more intuitive, and to help alleviate some of its more painful parts. Our first change is improving buff sharing. Donating buffs to your laners is an important part of being a jungler, but it feels bad to lose the gold, experience, and bonuses they provide. We're exploring a bunch of things to make this more painless to junglers, like buffs leaving behind a little friend that also has a buff, and a few other potential directions.
That is just straight up a nerf to Ivan, by the way. Like, one of Ivan's strengths is, oh, we both get the buff.
We're also looking at ways of improving jungle camp patience rules. The goal of this change is to make it so you don't get overly punished by accidentally pulling camps too far.
Which again is reducing the skill of the role.
Have to know exactly what pixel to stand on.
Why? That's part of the skill.
Without one resetting.
You can go. I will just say it's something that I've not done yet because I'm not playing that much jungle. You can go because it's always the same, right? You can go in the practice tool, go to every single camp, and probably spend, I don't know, maximum half an hour, and you'll exactly get to learn if you go to each camp, learn when they reset aggro. And you can equate it the same that way like racing drivers do. They've got the brake markers, 150 board, 100 board, 50 board. You can do the exact same thing on Summoner's Rift. Of whenever you see, like, for example, these trees over here, let's just give the random example that you're doing the leashing. And whenever you pass this shadow on this tree, oh, that's when they run back. So you can learn that. Every single jungle camp will have those areas that you can equate to, oh, I can't go beyond there because then it'll reset. Just learn that. It will take half an hour in the practice tool. And that's like a skill. Like, that is the difference of if you're trying to be better at the game, you're trying to learn the game, that's a good thing to do. But anyway.
Making changes that will make it less punishing when that happens. We know some junglers like to hyper-optimize their clears, and we want that knowledge to be rewarded. We'll still keep unique, optimal clears for different champions, like Kayn starting Raptors and Shaco doing whatever it is he does. All this said, we're not trying to make mastering jungle easier, but we do want to make it easier to start jungling. We still want you to be rewarded for taking the time to master your role and champions.
Okay.
There are some other improvements we're exploring for the jungle, but it's still too early to share more.
Well,
so check back in later.
Karina kind of leaked that. Okay, give me a second. I'll be right back, but we'll continue in momentarily. Okay, let's continue. Sorry about that edit. CHEMTECH, it's back!
The final preseason change we want to talk about today is the long-awaited return of
Please don't be... It's not long-awaited, but just don't be broken.
While we're bringing CHEMTECH Drake back from the dead, she won't bring you back from the dead anymore.
Oh, thank God.
Instead, the new and improved CHEMTECH Soul grants more damage and damage reduction when you're low health. And when the CHEMTECH Drake takes over the rift, the plants on the map mutate and become empowered. For example, Scry's Bloom will grant movement speed when moving towards revealed enemies, and Blast Cone will take you further than ever before.
Holy Jesus!
To mid lane.
Okay.
We still have other plans for preseason, including the usual updates and tweaks to items and runes. And we'll share more information about our plans for these, and everything we discussed today as we get close to preseason.
All right, what do I think of the Chem update? It's interesting. So one of my big problems with the original Chem Dragon, I think a lot of people's, is I'm not a massive fan, and Riot are very big into, unfortunately, doing this nowadays, of giving champion level mechanics to not champion things. I've even directly asked Rioters in dev meetings about this, and they don't see it as a problem. I've literally been told that. But I don't like it. You know, for me, a champion is a champion. That should, in my opinion, feel is the most powerful part of the game, is the champions you're playing. Items, even background systems like a dragon system or a baron system, that should feel an additional extra. It shouldn't feel more powerful sometimes, or it shouldn't have the equivalent power of a champion, because that's the thing that is League of Legends, in my opinion. So when Chem Dragon basically gave you champion level mechanic of a revive, basically zombie ult for Sion, but just better, I had a problem with that. I'm not a big fan of that mechanic anyway. And then every single champion has got it, you know, and especially with the team that on average gets the Dragon Soul, on average is stronger. So the fact that you had to kill them, that they're probably stronger than you because they've got the Dragon Soul, and then you have to survive their zombie form too, was just problematic. The new one that they just said here is it a champion level mechanic? I mean, kinda. Olaf, obviously, the lower health he goes, he doesn't, I think, do more damage. He just increases in attack speed. So yeah, the lower health you are, the scarier you're going to be. And that, again, they use the champion that arguably is going to have one of the biggest problems with that, hardest to balance with that, is Tryndamere. The champion is technically on 0 or 1% health during his ultimate when you can't kill him. And then if you give him a dragon buff that makes him do more damage the lower health he is, and then you can't kill him, that sounds bad. That doesn't sound healthy to me, but I think it's better on concept. On concept is better than the old one, because the old one couldn't be much worse. That's why it was removed so quickly. Well, it was like a month or two in the new season. But I don't know, like, I know it sounds bad and it sounds potentially like a negative, but Chem Dragon is probably going to have a bad taste in most people's mouth forever because of what it was. And sometimes I think just scrapping that idea and moving to something else, bring out another dragon if you want to, but I actually think it would have been healthier just to come out with a whole new type of dragon, because it's that bad flavor that people are gonna have. Obviously, the reason why they don't want to do that is because they invested a decent amount of time into art, modeling, etc. into that dragon. They want to use it, but we'll see. It still doesn't sound incredibly healthy, it must be said. You know, the new plant system, that's an interesting concept to me. Ish. I'm still not a massive fan of the plants anyway, though. So, yeah, to me, it's better than the old version, is what I would say, but that isn't much of a compliment. But anyway, that might be it.
That's all I have today. Thanks for watching, and let us know what you think about everything you heard. I'll hand things back to Reeve to say goodbye.
Do we get a teaser for something?
So as you can see, we have a lot of exciting things in development. And as always, I've had a blast finally sharing all this cool stuff the team has been working on with all of you. Wait. Yeah?
Here we go.
So I'm hearing that there is one last thing we forgot to show you all. You all remember the skin line you voted for at the beginning of the year, right? I think it was the Gothic skin line revamp. Well, our skins team has been hard at work reimagining that skin line, and they really want to share a bit of it with you now. So it's time for me to say goodbye, bye, and time for all of you to see some sweet concept art for the new Fright Night skins.
Right, Draven, Renata, it's just like Halloweenish. Whoa, that Trundle one looked cool. I mean, pretty cool though. So again, we voted on Gothic, and that's what won, I believe. So overall, my thoughts, cool. A lot of it seems great. New champions, you know, I will say, like a lot of people, I'm more scared of new champions than happy or excited, because a lot of new champions are just not the healthiest thing for the game. But how much can a tank top laner muck up the game? I'm sure I'll probably eat my words and kind of laugh about it in a few months, but I'm looking forward to that. New Aurelion update looked really cool. I like the concept of it quite a lot. That looked really cool. A lot more dragony, and that's nice. But yeah, no, a lot of good things. Obviously, where the hell the miscommunication with Garena releasing that and that, I don't know. Like, that's the type of thing, that Garena article, I think that probably would have been released in 2 weeks' time. So I wouldn't be, again, it's still not released, by the way, by Riot. So in 2 weeks' time or a week's time, maybe because obviously they might have speeded up because it's been leaked or released anyway, because that article kind of hinted at being spoken to about kind of this stuff. So yeah, maybe in a week or two we'll have that article again. Obviously I won't make a video on it unless anything actually changes, but yeah, what I would say is let me know what you guys think down below. I'd be very much interested to know what you think, and yeah, what are you excited about, what are you scared about, and give your opinions, because again, rioters do occasionally float around. That's what they do now. They don't have the official board, so they have to pay attention a bit more to videos like this, social media, and hell, unfortunately, even Reddit. So that's gonna be it. If you guys did enjoy, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace, restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime.